Welcome to Candidates of Liberty, a special series from Lions of Liberty dedicated to spotlighting libertarian candidates across the country. If you enjoy our work, please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty.
Hello, friends. Welcome back and welcome to another edition of Candidates of Liberty. I'm your host here, once again, Marc, here with a libertarian candidate for state representative in Ohio's 77th District. I'm very pleased to welcome Miss Kryssi Wichers. Kryssi, are you ready to roar?
Well, I mean, people confuse my last name with Whiskers, so rawr, I'm ready.
They're big, giant lion whiskers of liberty.
Yes, they are. They're so big. That's what she said.
Bam. All right, so we're going to have fun today, Kryssi. You informed me this morning. You asked, are you ready for the fun that we're going to have here today? So you are ready to roar, and I'm ready to have fun and find out more about your campaign. So before we really dig deep into what you're doing with your campaign, why you're running for office, I want to find out a little bit more about yourself. So why don't you just first starting off telling everybody how you first became a libertarian, either big L or small L, whichever came first there, and why are you a member, why are you active in the Libertarian Party?
Okay, so first, I love this story. It's probably the best libertarian story ever because I'm the one true libertarian.
Of course.
When I was 16, I had just got my driver's license and I was driving down around everywhere and I saw a homemade sign that said Google Ron Paul. And this was in 2006. And I got home from, driving everywhere and I was bored. MySpace was boring me. And I decided to Google Ron Paul. And I saw he wanted to legalize marijuana. And I thought, hey, I'm a high school stoner and I want to legalize marijuana. That sounds awesome. And my first election was going to be in 2008. So I decided maybe I should, learn a little bit about different candidates. And I looked into Ron Paul, saw his views on the IRS and the Federal Reserve. And I thought, what's the Federal Reserve? I went to public school, so I didn't really know what the Federal Reserve was. And I did a lot of research. I looked at a lot of videos from Ron Paul and got hooked. I volunteered for his campaign in 2008, ended up being paid staff for his 2012 campaign. And in 2012, I was a delegate to the RNC, and I had been escorted out by security and because I was a Ron Paul delegate, and I saw how the RNC was treating people. And I was young. I didn't really know too much about the Republican Party platform, but I knew that I was a Ron Paul supporter. So after the RNC treated us like crap, I did a little bit more research. I did an I side with quiz and saw that I sided with Gary Johnson. And I'm like, who's this clown? And decided to look into him and learned about the Libertarian Party a little bit more and never turned my back since. I got involved in the Libertarian Party pretty quickly. I've been a part of 3 different state LPs. I'm the deputy vice chair of the Libertarian Party in Ohio, and I've worked on a ton of libertarian campaigns. I can't even count anymore. And I just, I really like spreading the message of liberty, and I really love that unlike going to the Republican meetings, I can smoke pot at the libertarian meetings. Not only that, I can take shots and all that too. And I'm not just a token woman like I was in the Republican Party. And, I found my home. I realized I could love, guns, hate taxes, and not have to hate gays too.
Was there much drinking at the Republican convention, or was it just the Ron Paul kids that were having fun there?
Oh, man. I mean, I was underage, so I wasn't drinking.
So you have no idea, of course, right? Because I'll tell you what, at the LNC, that bar was open the whole time. That bar was open at 9 a.m., and there was always a line.
Yes, no, it was wonderful. At the LNC, I was there with my 5th sitting on the desk with me. So I'm actually the chair of the Drinkers Caucus in the Libertarian Party.
We might have to coordinate because I recently started at the LNC the Moonshine Caucus, which is sort of a much more specific version of the same idea. So we'll have to, maybe talk about that after the show.
I swear, libertarians, man. I say Drinkers Caucus, you say Moonshine Caucus. And we all have to go.
It's all the same idea. We're trying to spread liberty, but gosh darn it, we're trying to have fun when we're doing it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what happened at the Republican National Convention. You said you were escorted out by security because you were a Ron Paul delegate. Was there more to the story than that? I mean, were you doing anything at the time, or was it simply because you were out there, screaming and shouting for Ron Paul?
Well, I mean, back then I was a little bit more, not many people can believe this, but I was even more rowdy back in the day. And I mean, I was waving a Ron Paul sign. I was yelling point of order over and over and over and over because they kept changing the rules on us without even opening the floor to debate. And Ron Paul's campaign in 2012 was very organized. We learned Robert's rules front and back. We learned all of the bylaws front and back. We knew when we were getting screwed. So I was yelling point of order and holding my sign. And this old lady, no joke, probably like 84 years old, grabbed my sign and hit me with it. So I ripped it back from her hands and we had a little tug of war. And that's when security grabbed me and escorted me out. They escorted the main delegation out because they were all Ron Paul supporters. And they did not want Ron Paul supporters in there. So they escorted a lot of us out, had our alternates take our seats, and I wasn't able to vote as a delegate.
Wow. I guess they just decided you were assaulting this old woman with her poor sign, this poor innocent old woman.
Yeah, like this girl, she was feisty too. Like, I mean, she was a Southern grandma. So she was just like, she's about to beat my butt with a spoon, man.
And that seems so tame compared to a lot of the things that go on at the Libertarian National Convention. So it's got to be freeing to be at a convention where you know you can hoot and holler and like hold your signs out, yell point of order, and not only will you not be kicked out, you'll actually fit in quite well for it.
Yeah, I mean, I could even go as far as waving a dildo and fit in. Oh wait, that's been done. Yeah.
You could do that.
Gotta be more creative next time, I guess. No dildos. Maybe we'll have to go full on, like strap-ons.
Oh boy, this is officially the spiciest episode of Candidates of Liberty already.
Oh darn! I was hoping to get that within the first minute. It's been like 30.
These are all the campaign sound bites for you. Now, Kryssi, speaking of the campaign, how did we get here? How did you find yourself running for office here in the state of Ohio? From what I understand, it wasn't your original intention to run for this position, but here we are.
Yeah, so I've been pretty active in my state party, more active in campaigning for other candidates. That's kind of my specialty. I'm social media marketer. I do a lot of digital marketing for campaigns. And so that was kind of like my wheelhouse. I've done some campaign management. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy doing strategy. And while I'm kind of, I'm not an introvert whatsoever. I'm fine with public speaking. I'm fine with being in the spotlight. That was never my intention because it's just way more fun to do it behind the scenes and be able to say fuck every once in a while. But I was talking with my party. We had to turn in over 102,000 signatures to get on the ballot. And we did that. It took us 18 months and almost $300,000. But after we did that, a couple of people in the party, we were all looking at each other like, okay, well then who's going to run now, now that we're on the ballot? And I had someone in my party ask, well, who's running in your district? And I said, nobody. Yeah, exactly. We were so close. So, I said, you know what? I will. Like, I'll run. I'll put my name on the ballot. And I don't know why my bright idea was just to have my name on the ballot because I'm kind of a perfectionist, especially when it comes to my reputation. I want to do big things. I want to keep participating in political activism, keep doing campaigning. I want people to have my trust. So I couldn't do a half-assed job. So we got my name on the ballot and immediately, just did what I did for many other campaigns. We got press releases out there. We got graphics done. We got supporters lined up. We got debates lined up. And, it kind of took off. We've been really lucky. We haven't been excluded from any debates. Actually, we have 4 coming up, and I'm invited to all of them.
Wow.
I've had two or three just in the newspaper appearances for my campaign. We get a lot of media, and it's overwhelmingly positive. I'm not going to say it's completely positive. There's been a hit piece, but we've been everywhere, and it's actually pretty interesting. But aside from 2 or 3 campaigns in Ohio, we're probably the most organized campaign here. So it's to go from just a few months ago, because I only put my name on the ballot in July. So to go from I'm just going to be a paper candidate to having one of the best performing campaigns is just it's crazy. Every day I wake up super stressed out, but I'm like, I can't believe this.
That's awesome. And why do you think you've been able to garner so much attention in the media locally? Why are you receiving this positive response as opposed to just the full-on, sometimes you'll get the full-on negative response to libertarians, but more often than not, you're just going to be ignored. So what's been the key to your success there?
So I think there's a couple answers to that. So first and foremost, I'm running for office in my hometown. I grew up here. I've participated in my community pretty much my entire life, all of my adult life. I've organized protests. I've been a pretty outspoken environmentalist for quite a while, and I do a lot of this in this general area. So I already had some name recognition. And the other answer is because, I'd like to say, oh, we're lucky, but it's a lot of hard work. I contact my local media pretty often. I contact all of the organizations around pretty often, and I'm talking like 3-4 times a week. I'm sending press releases. I'm sending emails to these people asking to speak. The debates we actually got invited to weren't even going to happen. We just we wanted to debate. We wanted to debate both of my opponents, and we noticed that there was no debate. So we got a hold of organizations, asked them to host debates. They decided to host them, and my opponents agreed. So we've just been kind of on the ball. We've been in your face. And I guess the last answer would be I'm kind of a controversial candidate. Now, I've been arrested for possession of marijuana. I have been on Dr. Phil for having sugar daddies. Yep, that one's a fun one.
Can we post the video to that in the in our show notes?
Absolutely, if you want.
I know there's video out there.
Yep,
so.
It's actually they posted it in the newspaper article that they wrote. They put it online. So it's actually, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what I did, but and actually most people don't. I was arrested because I didn't want to give the police my name, so they charged me with falsifying information. And I got a nice little quote in the newspaper, though. It said they actually asked me for a comment, and I was honest, and I told them, yeah, like these are all things that have happened. Congratulations, you did a Google search. And they asked me, well, why did you lie to police? And I said, well, because I was feeling a little extra anarchist that day. And not only did they print that quote, they made that into a meme.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you can never have enough memes when you're running a libertarian campaign.
Yes. So that gave us a lot of attention because, all publicity is good publicity. But what it did is it showed that I was a human. So there was a lot of public interest in my campaign after that. I had a lot of money and donations from people that in my district that I didn't even know. I got volunteers signing up that, they weren't part of the party. It's really hard for libertarians to get volunteers that aren't already volunteering with the state party. But I have, a couple dozen volunteers at this point, and most of them were never involved with the party before. And it's because they saw I don't like calling myself a politician, but, I guess I'm going to have to own it. But they saw a politician in the newspaper being asked about their past. And then they saw me being honest. So that resonated with a lot of people, and they were they're pretty happy about it. And I mean, my district went 68% to Trump, so they love the grab him by the pussy politicians.
They're cool with shooting from the hip.
Yes.
Kryssi, when you're out there campaigning, I know there's a lot of issues that you're passionate about, a lot of issues that may or may not connect with voters. What do you find yourself out there talking about? What are the issues that you're the most passionate about when you're out there speaking with your potential voters?
Well, I have probably two that I'm not only passionate about as a candidate, but I'm passionate about as an activist. First and foremost, I'd like to see marijuana completely decriminalized. That, no laws on the books. I know it's a pipe dream, but hey, I'm a libertarian, we dream. But I would like to see that completely decriminalized. As someone that has had a possession conviction, I've been charged with possession a few other times. As someone with a conviction, it was hard for me to then, further my education because I had to prove that I wasn't going to spend my loan money on drugs. It was hard for me to even get into any kind of career field because I had a possession charge from when I was 22. So that's something that's really a really big deal for me, because I know that it's not just about, oh, look at the money we'll save, look at the money we'll get. It's about lives that can stop being ruined over a plant. So not only that, but in my district, we have such a bad opioid crisis. We have about an overdose a week. My district's very small, but we have. I'm in rural Ohio, so we're a little tight knit community, and we have an overdose a week, and someone dying from an overdose. So from opiates, and in order to help at least put a dent in this opioid crisis, we have to legalize marijuana and allow people to use that as a medicine to either get off of heroin or possibly use before they ever get prescribed pain pills. I think it's a lifesaver. So that's probably my strongest issue that I feel very, very passionate about. The second would be ending the income tax here in Ohio. Us libertarians, we like to yell taxation is theft. I'm not a taxation is theft gal, though. I'm more like a taxation is extortion, if we're being technical gal. So the average person pays $1,300 a year in income tax. Of course, that can go up dramatically depending on how much money you make. So we're spending that much money and we're not getting anything in return. We have so much wasteful spending. We're billions and billions and billions of dollars in debt. Each Ohioan owes $7,500 right now just to pay off that debt. So I'm saying, when I was a teenager, my dad said, if you can't, handle responsibilities, I'm taking your car away and I'm taking your money away. So that's what I want to do to the government. Like, okay, we need to stop giving you this money. And not only that, but it's our money. And once you give everybody that $1,300 a year back, they can choose to spend it on what they want. So those two issues I'm probably the most passionate about. And both of those are very popular in my district. So I'm excited to be the voice for those issues because it's never been talked about in my district before by anybody running for office.
All right. What kind of reaction, what of those issues, like what seems to connect with voters the most? What seems to get them most excited about your campaign other than your brutal honesty?
Yes, I would say definitely the brutal honesty. Most people would say that I am not shy about my opinions and I'm not, I don't coddle feelings. But I would say, especially with the decriminalizing marijuana, a lot of people have had the same life instances as me. They have been unable to further their education. They've been unable to get a job. They know somebody like that. Maybe they smoke weed recreationally, or maybe they use it medicinally. We did legalize medicinal marijuana here, but they had 2 years to roll it out, and guess what? It's still not done. So we have a lot of patients going without medicine, and so that definitely resonates. That message resonates with people. They really want to see something done about it. They hear it all the time, but they know what happens as soon as they get in the office. A Republican and Democrat, they're beholden to their parties, and if their party doesn't want to do it, they're not going to do it. I'm not beholden to a party because we're libertarians and nobody can detain us. But our party 100% supports that. So I think that they see that, hey, this isn't a normal politician making promises. This is someone who's willing to do this. We've actually drafted up a model bill for this that I show supporters if they want to see. Like, this is the bill that we want to pass. It's only one page. So they enjoy that. They enjoy the fact that I actually mean what I say. And I think that my track record has proven that I mean what I say, because as an activist, like I said, my whole life, I've been an activist. I've organized protests. I've been arrested for protesting quite a few times, once by Homeland Security. And so they see that I'm willing to kind of put my money where my mouth is. So that really is resonating with people. And with the income tax, again, I show people, a lot of people ask, well, what about the roads? And then I show them, like, look at all this wasteful spending. Like, we give millions of dollars to the grape growing industry for their marketing. When's the last time you heard of Ohio's grape growing industry?
I can't say I have.
Never. That's not one of our industries. So why are we giving them millions of dollars to market? Our state has a monopoly on the liquor, and we can cut that right there. So, a lot of people see that I'm not just talking. I have actual ideas. I have them on paper. I can show them and see and show them like, look here, this is what we're going to do. This is what we want to do. Now, can I say that I'm going to get this done? No, of course not, because there's 99 representatives. But what I can say is I'm going to try my best. And if the Democrats in the House don't want to help me pass a legalization bill, then they're going to have to be talking to their constituents, because that's what their constituents want. If the Republicans don't want to help me cut the income tax, their constituents are going to be asking them why, because those are both issues that both those parties hold up dearly. So I'm going to do my best to do those things. And I think a lot of people see that I'm willing to do that.
All right, Kryssi, one last question for you. I'm curious, if all your time here spending, that you spent in the Libertarian Party around libertarians, are there any positions or viewpoints that you either disagree with, or that you're maybe not fully on board with, or just have, maybe a nuanced position on? Anything that you maybe have to put a little more into than your average libertarian?
Well, everyone's mean to me because I'm an environmentalist vegetarian. Oh, I know. Like, I know you probably want to end this podcast now. I'm one of those.
This is no longer airing. I'm sorry, you wasted your time.
I know. I'm like a super hippie. It's really weird. So most of my activism has been in health food and environmental work. So I'm one of those people that's like, hey, if we have the government, maybe we should have a government to, help the environment. I know, don't shoot me. I have a lot of people that hate me over it, but the way I see it is the non-aggression principle applies to me and my property. And if someone or some entity is poisoning my environment, they're aggressing against me, and they're definitely aggressing against my property because they're poisoning my property. So why can't we apply the NAP, to pollution? Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, you freaking dork. But I feel like I think that's an issue that libertarians could get stronger on. I'm actually going to an event with Citizens Climate Lobby next week, and going to be hanging out with them for a couple days. And I think I'm the first libertarian ever that's been invited to a climate change conference.
Well. You should be able to make some friends there.
They're already my friends. And I actually thought about like running a poll on Facebook if people thought, who people think donate to me more, libertarians or environmentalists? Because even though I'm running as a libertarian for state representative, and I don't even bring up the environment in my platform, environmentalists have donated almost double to my campaign than libertarians. So they may be jobless hippies, but they're generous jobless hippies.
Hey, well, that's the kind of thing we need. We need people out there that are able to talk to people from all different point of views, because if we just have the current people that agree with libertarianism, we're not going very far. We need to find people that may never even fully agree with libertarianism and at least get them on board on some bigger issues. And I think when they see someone like yourself who, is unabashed in their views and who may be able to really connect with them on that environmental issue, at least, it's a way to kind of bring them in and show them, well, hey, maybe if you think I'm reasonable on this one thing, maybe look at some of the other kind of things I'm out there talking about too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, I organized for March Against Monsanto, and we had like 4,000 people each March. And I met a lot of people, and I'm personal friends with a lot of people from that movement. And you wouldn't believe how many of them voted for Gary Johnson over Jill Stein simply because I talked to them like they were humans. Like they were capable of understanding. I didn't call them commies, not one time. No cucks, no commies came from my mouth. I talked to them. I said, we really hate the FDA and we hate the EPA. We feel like they're not helping us, right? We're environmentalists. We hate that ExxonMobil runs the EPA. We hate that Monsanto runs the FDA. So the government's failing us there. And well, so don't you think maybe the government's failing us in other places? Like, let's look at healthcare, let's look at education, let's look at all of this and see that the government doesn't have our best interests at heart. And, they always, a lot of them would say, but you libertarians hate the poor. And I said, no, listen. I don't think that there's one person that's seriously running for office. I know there's some keyboard warriors that say this, but libertarians that are seriously running for office and seriously want to affect change, they all agree that they're not going to just cut off food stamps tomorrow. They're going to start with, legalizing marijuana. They're going to start with, getting rid of the income tax. They're going to start with
cut those corporate food stamps first.
Yes, absolutely. That's what they're going to do. They're going to get rid of corporate subsidies. They're going to do all that first. And then by the time we have some free movement to get to personal welfare, their people aren't going to need it anymore. So that's a non-issue. And, so once you talk to them, talk to environmentalists, talk to Green Partiers, talk to Democrats even, once you talk to them a little bit like they're humans, they respond like they're humans. And, it takes a few conversations, but it's totally worth it. I'm sure I'm sure it's happened to you where you watch someone's mind change and you watch someone really understand the message of liberty. And
oh yeah,
it's such a beautiful feeling because, that happened to me once, with Ron Paul. And, I love being that person for people. And I know a lot of us really feel like we should reach out to the right. But my kind of specialty is reaching out to the left or even center left, people that are Green Partiers, because I think that those are some good allies. These are people, the people that care. Republicans are the people that we want from the right. They're smart fiscally, but they really don't have any heart. And the Democrats that we want, they have a lot of heart, but they're just not that smart. I think it's easier to teach a Democrat economics than it is to teach a Republican how to have a heart. That's my experience. So I'm glad that my campaign can do that, and I'm glad that I can bring libertarianism into those different venues and those different areas.
Absolutely, Kryssi. Well, I do appreciate you coming on the show on Candidates of Liberty and sharing your campaign with our audience. Before I let you go, why don't you just let everybody know how they can find out more about your campaign and how they can get involved in these final few weeks before the election.
So you can go to my website that is KryssiForOhio.org. That's KRYSSI and for Ohio.org. Find me on Facebook, again, with KRYSSI. Literally just type that in. I'm pretty much the only one with that name that's ever existed. So, and I'm on Twitter, Liberty_Kryssi. And I'm pretty active on social media. I like to complain a lot. I'm a libertarian. So
nah, come on.
You'll see me pop up here and there. Of course, I'd love donations, and that, can't do anything without money, but I'd also love if people wanted to help phone bank and send some letters to the editors. I feel like there's so many people who don't want to leave their keyboard. I'm there for them. I know I don't want to leave my keyboard either. So I have phone banking jobs and everything for those people.
All right, Kryssi Wichers, thanks again for coming on the show. Wish you the best of luck with your campaign.
All right. Thank you so much, Marc.
All right, kiddies, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Kryssi Wichers, or Kryssi Whiskers, whatever you want to call her. Please do check out her website. I will link to that, and I will also post her little Dr. Phil segment for her sugar daddy days, if you want to check that out, because she doesn't hide who she is. She doesn't hide her past at all, and that's, I think, something that's very refreshing about Kryssi Wichers. I think libertarian candidates in general tend to have more of this being themselves on the campaign trail vibe to them, which is really just so refreshing about talking to all these Liberty candidates. And we've talked to so many that, as you know, because it is now Thursday, if you're listening to this the day it's released, we are doing this show, Candidates of Liberty, twice per week, every single Tuesday and Thursday for the rest of October. So just to get some more candidates in. There are so many out there. There's no way we could possibly get to all of them or even close to it, but we are happy that we've been able to highlight a good number of really, really great candidates out there. So please do check out Kryssi Wichers. Please do check out all of our candidates' interviews, which you can find over at lionsofliberty.com/candidates, and the show notes for today's show. This is episode number 10 of Candidates of Liberty, which means you can find the show notes over at lionsofliberty.com/COL10. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for another look at the broken criminal justice system when John and Odermatt brings you another edition of Felony Friday. Until next time, kids, why don't you live long and live free?